Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. Yes. Lovely. Fabulous. Thank you. It says waiting. Oh, yeah, they're coming. Yeah. There they are.
Hey.
Good morning.
When you share screen, you won't be able to see us, but don't panic, you're still there.
Okay. I'm sure that's helpful. Say something if. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Let me see. People are still being let in, so I'll just give it in a minute. I'll let everybody join. I can't hear anybody. I don't know if you're muted, if that's me or you. But if you have anything, fabulous, thank you. I was going to say, if you do have anything to say, you can pop in a message and I'll see it in the chat. So thank you for that. I'll have somebody. Okay, just have a couple more being admitted. It takes a little while sometimes with technology, which is great because we're here to talk about technology. There we go. I think everybody's in now. So the first thing that I have to say is just to let you know that this webinar is being recorded. So it will be recorded and then added to the parent area on Canvas so that you can access it later, and anybody who couldn't make it today can access it and look back. So just to let you know that. And then next thing, I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see the PowerPoint that I'm going to be going through. So I'm going to click that back onto slideshow. And then here we are. So hopefully everybody can see that one. Give me a thumbs up if you can see that. I can see that. Okay. Fantastic. So BYOD is the workshop that we're talking about today, and we are going to be, the aim of this is to go over what BYOD is, how it looks in school, just discussing any, we're going to be mythbusters, discussing any myths and concerns that you might already have about the idea of BYOD, and then into the more technical things, the device requirements, how we use it in school to make sure that it's being used safely, and the responsibilities of everybody involved. So the responsibilities of the teachers, the responsibility of the students, and the responsibility to you as parents. And then a timeline, that's more kind of the letters will go out and the things that you have to do for your child to be able to bring their device to school. And then at the end, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You can unmute and ask, you can type it in the chat, and you're also very welcome to email me separately or privately, whatever you feel most comfortable with. So first of all, BYOD is, so I think I have somebody else waiting to come in. BYOD is, don't see the slides. Does anybody see the slides? I did share screen. Let me stop sharing and see if I can share again. Maybe a little bit as well there. See if my signals. So share screen. Okay, that should be sharing again now. It works? Yes. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know. I didn't want to talk for half an hour and then find out that nobody saw anything. So thank you for that. Okay, let me just pop back quickly then. This was the only one that I've really talked about yet. And this is just the aims of the meetings of this webinar, is to discuss what BYOD is, how it looks in school and how it will work, just to discuss any myths, ideas, concerns that you might already have that you've heard about, people discussing bringing your own device, and then the technical parts, what the device requirements are, how we'll use it to make sure it's being used safely, and what everybody's responsibilities are. And then at the end, you will have the opportunity to ask questions. And obviously, you're welcome to email me or ask me questions at any time afterwards as well. So first of all, BYOD, if you're not sure, is bring your own device, which means that the students are able to bring a device into school with them to use in lessons. It could be a tablet of some sort, a laptop of some sort, an iPad. It cannot be a phone, but I'm going to discuss that later as well. I'm sure you probably agree with me that that's not the best way to use technology in the classroom for learning, and we'll be monitoring all of that. So first off, what are the benefits of BYOD? Why would we do this? Why would you let your child bring a sometimes expensive piece of equipment to school with them? As you know, children of today are digital natives. I know that my own children, are much better with technology than I am and my parents, and that's just the way that life is going. And the children already have lots of skills. They already had lots of skills before COVID and lockdown, and then that forced even more skills to be introduced and learned and used. So all of those skills can be applied into everyday school life alongside all of the other skills that we do in school as well. Bring your own device allows children to be more free when they're creating and developing and sharing their work. It gives more options, it gives more choice, which is good for the children to start developing those skills of choosing the best option and explaining why. And then later on in school, certainly in secondary here, and I know a lot of colleges and universities, they encourage, and some of them insist that children bring their own devices to work on. So it will help to prepare them for later school life as well as college and university. And computer fluency, obviously, the more we use it, will be greatly increased. So their skills will become quicker. They will know how to problem solve. And in this day and age, computers, technology are very widespread. So that would be another good skill for them to be developing even further. First of all, I know that there are concerns. So we're going to be Mythbusters. Myth number one is that students without a device will be left behind. You might be concerned that if you don't have a device at home, and please, one thing that I desperately want to get across during this webinar is do not go out and buy something especially for this. That's not what we're asking. We're not asking you to go out and spend money and buy a brand new iPad or tablet or anything like that. So please don't worry if you don't have anything, because as I'm going to go through now, students, if they do not bring a device, they're not going to be left behind. They're not going to miss out on anything. The school have devices available for lessons. We have full class sets, more than one, so that different classes can use them at the same time. We have the laptops, the notebooks, and we have iPads, and we have more iPads coming in as well. So if a teacher is planning a lesson where we're going to be encouraging students to use devices for research or for presenting work, we will have school devices available as well. So if a student doesn't have one, they're not going to miss out, they're not going to be left behind, and they're still going to develop those skills. It's just by having, if children do bring them in, it means that obviously within the school we have more, and then there will be more opportunity to use them and share those. Myth number two is that bring your own device could result in children using their device for inappropriate activities. So if you're concerned that your child is going to be, I'm sure if you keep a close eye on them at home when they're on the internet, I hope you do, where they're going on the internet, who they're talking to. You might have the concern that in school, more children, one teacher, those kind of things, maybe they could do something that you wouldn't allow at home. I can assure you they would not. Britannica has a very strong firewall. That games are blocked, inappropriate content is blocked. So it's really important that if a child does bring their device to school, they will need to connect to the Britannica school Wi-Fi and system, because that is where the firewall is. Teachers obviously will be keeping a close eye on things that are happening within the classroom. Before we start using Bring Your Own Device, students are going to gain their digital passport, which is an online program that teaches digital citizenship skills, how to stay safe online, how to create strong passwords, what to do if you notice something or if you're uncomfortable with something that does happen. That's very useful for when they're at home in particular. I'm sure most homes, I know my home does not have a firewall quite as strong or as good as any of the schools I've ever taught in. So, and we'll be doing that anyway, whether they bring their own device or not, but they must have done that before we start using Bring Your Own Device. And we've already started that in lessons. And then during our PSHCE lessons, we talk about digital safety, we talk about cyberbullying, and again, learning those skills that help students to learn technology responsibly and to keep them safe when they're online. Myth number 3, what if my child's device does not have the right software? Okay. Again, not asking you to go out and buy something specific, and that includes the software as well as the hardware. So children will be allowed to use a variety of different methods to complete and submit work. So even if they bring their own device to school, it doesn't mean they will always be on it and they will always be using that. In fact, they definitely will not always be on it, because there are lots of other skills that we still need to teach and build on and develop. So there are lots of different ways for them to do it. And most of the work that we do on devices are using internet resources. For example, the digital passport one that I just mentioned is an online resource. It doesn't need any extra software, and we're not asking anybody to go out and buy any extra software or expensive software. If there is a time where we need to use some software and it's not on their device, again, we have all of the school devices which will have anything on it that we have planned to use in a lesson. Myth number 4, kind of mentioned this briefly just then. What about my child's offline skills? Will they disappear? I know that as technology has grown and developed so much over the last few years, a lot of people are concerned about writing skills, handwriting skills, spelling skills, math skills, like using your brain rather than a computer. They will continue to be used. The devices are to be used alongside the skills that we do in school. The skills that we do in school and teach in school and practice and develop will not change. They are still a huge focus of primary education and secondary education, in fact, as well. So their device will be used in combination with written work, oral speaking and listening. All of those skills will still be developed alongside using the devices. So I'll take a pause and see if anybody's sent any questions. No, not yet. I will do questions at the end anyway, but I just thought I said quite a lot in a short space of time then, so I'd have a quick look. So device requirements. If you decide that you would like your child to bring a device to school, these are the things that they must be in line with. So it must have a long battery life and must be fully charged when they come to school, because we have all the school devices and they have set places where they are plugged in to charge. So if we need one, we can use that. We don't have extra charging points. So when they bring it in, it should be fully charged in the morning. And I know that some older devices, the batteries don't last quite as long. So if you know that your device won't last without being plugged in, it would be better for the children to not bring the device, and we can use the school ones whenever we use the devices in class. it should have a keyboard. I know a lot of iPads have the screen keyboard, but it would be much better if it had a keyboard that was either the Bluetooth keyboard that goes with it or that clips on laptops with keyboards, because part of the skills that we're developing are the typing skills, and having a keyboard would just make that so much better and so much easier for the uses that we will have in school. It should be small enough to fit in your child's bag. They're going to have to carry it around with them when they come to school, not all day, obviously. When they come to school and when they go home, it should fit in their bag alongside anything else that they need for the school day. So if they have a PE kit or a swimming kit, if they bring lunch and snack, it needs to fit in their bag so that it's safe. It needs to be able to connect to the internet. A lot of the skills that we'll be using will be, as I said, online skills and using online resources, but also we want it to connect to our internet so that that firewall is in place to keep them safe when we go online. And for the same reason, the device must not have a VPN on it. If it has a VPN on it, there's a chance that it will divert past the school firewall, which would decrease the security that we can offer. So it must be able to connect to our internet, and it must not have a VPN on it. Your child should be familiar with the device. In school, when we first start using the laptops and the iPads, we go over the skills on how to use that particular laptop and those particular iPads. Yours might be slightly different. So the idea of bringing those into school is to enhance the learning that we're already doing and to work alongside it, not to kind of go back and learn how to use that device. So your child should be familiar with it and how it works and how they can access different things on it. The responsibilities of the parents. So your responsibility would be, if you want your child to bring their device to school, is you need to have read the Bring Your Own Device parent letter, which will be sent out. You need to read and sign the, I think that should say parent acceptable use policy. There's a student one next. There is a acceptable use policy that both parents and students need to sign, and to read the Bring Your Own Device frequently asked questions. And obviously, if you have any questions that are not on that, to reach out and ask me beforehand so that we can have a smooth start to the BYOD program. And then to fill out the device registration form, that will be available to you as well, will be sent out. And if you don't have it or you can't find any of these things, again, please reach out and let me know, and I'll make sure that they find their way to you. The responsibilities of the child. Okay, they are, I will come back to this one, ensure the safety and security of their own device. I will come back to this one because I know as a parent, I would look at that and say, well, wait a minute, they're bringing it to school, you have to help them. And of course we will help them. But ultimately they need to follow the rules and follow the guidelines of the teacher and the class that they're kept in to ensure that their device is safe and secure. The child also needs to have read and signed the acceptable use policy and to read the frequently asked questions. So if you want your child to bring it in, maybe sit down with them at home and go through these things so that they know what it will be used for, how it will be used, and what it's not going to be used for. They need to ensure that if they bring the school to device, they bring the device to school, it's fully charged, and when they get to school, the teacher will help them to join the school's network. So when they first bring it, we'll make sure that they all know how to do that, so that when they get to school, they must join the school's network to ensure that that firewall and all of those security things are in place. The responsibility of the teachers to ensure the online safety of pupils when devices are in use. As I said, we will keep a close eye on what everybody's going on. The devices will never be used for playtimes or golden times or anything like that at lunchtime. They are purely an extension of the skills that we are learning in the classroom. They are for they're going to be a learning device, not for playing games. The digital passport I already mentioned, and that's online resources that we're doing in class to ensure that children know how to be responsible and safe online. And Interland is another one. I didn't know this one, so I've been playing on it this weekend before I talk to you. It's presented to the children like a game, so they enjoy it. And again, there's lots of questions on there on how they would, what should they do if this happens while they're online. It includes cyberbullying. It includes things that you should and should not share online, if you send messages, who you talk to, all of those things. So we'll ensure that if anybody's going online, they have already been onto these programs to know how to keep themselves safe. It is the teacher's responsibility to incorporate time into lessons for device use. And again, that aid and further learning. They will be used in lessons for research, for presenting work, to be creative in the way that they can present their work. They will not be used for games or for anything other than furthering learning. And then on here, obviously, I've told you, we do have a very good firewall. Not every firewall is perfect, and the teacher will make sure that the children are using their device appropriately. As much as I believe in and trust the firewall, it is still a human responsibility, a person responsibility, a teacher responsibility to make sure that children are using it in the correct way, going to the correct websites, putting in the correct searches that won't bring up something that we don't want them to access. Technology that we already use, as I mentioned, the hardware that we have the laptops, notebooks, we have iPads, we do have some more iPads coming in. These are all available for the children. As I said, if they don't bring their own device to school, they're not going to miss out. We have the use of these ones. It just gives us more and more options. The software that we will be using, internet sites, as I said, a lot of online resources, and also Google Suites is what we use in school at the moment. And at the one where it says children will use ICT Suite if a certain software is needed. That's what I mentioned about if the software is not on the device that your child brings, it's not going to be a problem. We will just pull out one of the school ones for that lesson if it is needed. So they're not going to miss out. You don't need to go and get special software, special equipment, nothing new. So how it looks in school, it's just some pictures of some children using their devices in school. These ones are, this is their own device rather than a school one. Year 6 implementation, if you are a new parent or if you're an existing parent and you've come back just to refresh from year 6, these are where the iPads would be kept in the year 6 one. You can see that one of the classrooms does have a locked cupboard there, and this is where they're currently keeping their devices. Year 6 feedback, this is from a previous year, the year 6s. I loved how quick and easy it was to get logged on and started. Some of the things that the children do complain about is with the school ones, everybody trying to get on at the same time might not be as fast. And they know their own devices. They say it's important that they know how to use their devices. And they've been enjoying that. It also helps, they can save their own work on their own device, and then they have it for the next lesson. The problem with sometimes with the school ones, they need to save it only to their Google or their Google folder that the teachers have set up, because they can't guarantee they will get the same computer or the same iPad next time, because they are in class sets rather than individually for each child. Mr. Phillips in year 6 said that organization has been key to making it run smoothly, and it has been great so far. That was last year. Year 5 implementation, the year 5 teachers also have designated spaces for their devices that children bring in to make sure that they're all kept in the same place. They are in view of the teacher, and not just kind of randomly left on desks, under desks, in bags or boxes. Year 5 feedback. In class, we use our devices for research, and it helps us find more information and add more detail to our work, from Ruben. And then Mr. Garrow, he was here last year, so this is our last year quote. I think it's been awesome. I'm using the quotes from last year because it's the start of the year and we haven't been bringing our devices in yet. I think it's been awesome. Having the right systems in place means we're organized and the kids have been very responsible. So that's good to know that the kids have taken it seriously, and hopefully that will continue. It is helpful to have some in the class for research purposes. We don't always have the school ones in the class because another class might be using them at that time. Year 4, obviously year 4 have not started this yet. That's why I'm doing this webinar, to introduce it to you and give you the option. Year 4 implementation, we've chosen safe spaces where we can keep them to make sure that they're all in the same place and we all know where they are. I would recommend, just like with every other piece of clothing, equipment, items that children bring into school, that there is a label somewhere on there with your child's name so that we know whose is whose. This one is important, morning and end of day procedures. One of the things that I mentioned was the responsibility for keeping it safe and secure. So if your child does sign up for the bring your own device, if you sign up for them and you've read the frequently asked questions and you've signed the responsible use policy, and then when they start bringing it in, it's really important that when they get here first thing in the morning to the playground, they come straight to the classroom to put their device in the designated place, and then they go out to the classroom to play, out to the playground to play. Because another concern would be, certainly would be a huge concern for me if, as a parent, if there is a device in the bag. I've seen them in the morning on the playground, they put their bags on the floor, they go off, they play, other people are playing. We don't want the devices out there in the morning. So if they're bringing their own device, they have permission to come straight into the classroom in the morning and put their device in the designated place and then go out to the playground to play, so that we can keep those devices safe. And that brings me, I spoke very quickly, I apologize for that. That brings me to the questions section of this. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask now, please feel free to send me a message. I don't know if I've got the settings on here. I didn't set up the meeting, so I don't know if that's why you're all muted. If it's been set up like that, you can, oh yeah, actually it says this is muted. If you would like to speak, let me know and I'll see if I can unmute you, or if you have a question, you can type it and I can respond. Again, if you prefer, you can send me an email after this, or if a question comes to mind later in the week or at any time, you can always email me. I think most of you know who I am by now, and my name will be on this. It's Mrs. Marchese, Nadine Marchese. My email, I'm a Year 4 teacher, and you can message me anytime. You can catch me on the playground. You can, any of those things if you have a question. This recording will be sent out on Canvas, and the letters and the links to the letters and all those kind of things are, which I recommend for Year 4. As a Year 4 teacher, and obviously as the IT coordinator, I do recommend for Year 4. I have spoken with the other Year 4 teacher. We have discussed how we're going to make sure that they're kept safe in the classroom and how we can use them. We can use them, as mentioned on here, they'll be used for research, they'll be used for presenting. It does give the children more choice when they're doing a project or a presentation. It gives them more choice, because as well as making a poster or making a book or writing a letter or something like that, instead of having to wait for the computing lesson, or if we're using the school devices, we kind of sign up for them in advance to make sure that they're available. If they have their own one there, we can pull it out during a lesson and have a small selection of school ones available for children who don't have them. But yeah, I do think they would be useful. I'm not saying that you have to do this by any means. Yeah, broader options for kids. That's a great way of putting it. Thank you. A much shorter way than my ramblings. Again, please don't feel that you have to. I don't want anybody to go out and spend money on devices that you don't already have. This is just a way of giving more choice and working on those skills. The digital citizenship skills are very important today, with how much time children spend online. So the digital citizenship skills, the typing skills, they're all very relevant to the generation that we're working with right now. And obviously we do work on those in school, but as always, as with any other skill, the more practice, the better. So, yeah. So if you have more questions, you can message me. If you don't have any questions right now and you want to wait for the letter to come home and the frequently asked questions to come home, I understand. Thank you so much for coming. There are headphones in school. There are headphones in school that we can use. If they bring headphones with them, that would be helpful. They can use those, but there are enough headphones in school that the headphones aren't used as much as the devices, so they're always available. So yeah, good question. Thank you. I am going to hang around here for another 5-10 minutes. If you have any questions, maybe not 10 minutes, another 5 minutes, I do have to go and teach. Another 5 minutes. So if you have questions, please feel free to stay and ask them. If you don't, I would just like to say thank you for joining. And please get in touch if you do have anything. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. You're welcome. Again, thank you for joining. It makes it worthwhile if I'm actually talking to people. Oh, actually, let me stop sharing my screen now and then. There we go. Now I can see myself. Thank you. Have a nice day too. Thank you. I didn't know you could do that with that. See, I'm still learning things. I was always on Zoom, and now I'm getting used to Microsoft Teams. And thank you very much for coming. It looks like everybody's asked their questions. So if you have anything, please message me. And I hope you have a fabulous day.